The moment you try to make her miss you, you've already handed her the remote. You think attention equals power. It doesn't. Power is what you hold when you stop asking for it. Wanting someone to miss you puts your value in their hands. That makes you small. It tells the world you measure yourself by another person's absence. That's dependency dressed as longing. When you chase longing, you become predictable. Predictable is background noise. Background noise fades. Mystery excites. Predictability repels. If you are always available, you lose scarcity. Scarcity is not cruelty, it is currency. People assign value to what is rare. Become rare. Do not check her stories like a second job. Do not refresh messages waiting for dopamine. Those tiny rituals wire you to her rhythm. That rhythm is her tempo, not yours. When you live to her schedule, you trade your timeline for a role in her story. Roles get written around. Timelines move forward without you. Withdraw not to wound but to reassemble. The withdrawal must be about building, not broadcasting. Fill the hours you used to waste with things that sharpen you. Learn, train, create, fix what was broken inside. Let your silence be full, not empty. A full silence hums with purpose. An empty silence screams for attention. Choose fullness. When you return to people, return with a voice that carries weight. Weight commands respect. Lightweight performances pull attention for a season and then disappear. Stop mistaking performance for strength. Posting for reaction is a cheap imitation of confidence. Real confidence does not tally likes. Real confidence keeps its private victories private. It smiles at success without announcing it. It dresses for itself. It trains for itself. It reads for itself. That inward calibration is magnetic because it cannot be faked. People sense when a man improves for himself and not to punish someone else. Boundaries are the visible form of self-respect. Saying no to the impulse to reach out is a soft fortress. It does not come from spite. It comes from standards. Standards define a life. Without standards, you drift. With standards, you navigate. Let your standards decide access to your time. Let your calendar reflect your priorities. When your time costs something, people respect it. When it costs nothing, it is spent recklessly. Expect tests. She will probe the edges to see if you still orbit. A casual text. A late-night reaction. She watches for the old reflex. Do not give it to her. Respond with the decorum of someone who is building. If you answer, be brief and neutral. If you don't, that too says everything. Either way, do not apologize for your absence. Absence explained loses its charge. Mystery explained becomes ordinary. This is not about cruelty. It is about sovereignty. It is about aligning your days with a man who values himself more than he fears being alone. That alignment fixes your posture, sharpens your decisions, and rewires your desires. Once your life is louder than your longing, absence stops being a weapon and becomes a consequence of your movement. Then people notice not because you beg to be seen but because you stop needing to be seen. You become a standard people compare themselves to. Your peace becomes the point of friction revealing true intentions. If you offer yourself up like an open book, desire will close the cover. Constant presence flattens curiosity. When everything about you is accessible, people stop valuing the access. Value lives in edges and boundaries, not in constant availability. Stop being a steady stream of responses. Become a resource that requires investment. Predictability breeds comfort, and comfort kills tension. Tension is the emotional currency that makes encounters feel alive. Without tension, interactions become meetings with furniture. Create contrast by making your presence selective. Let your time feel like an earned privilege. When you place a cost on attention, you restore its weight. Consistent reaction is the map to your triggers. Anyone who learns your patterns can direct your emotions. Don't hand out a roadmap. Vary your tempo. Speak less. Move with purpose. Do things because they matter to you, not because they will draw notice. When your rhythm changes, people are forced to recalibrate how they think about you. Availability without standards is entitlement disguised as effort. If you reply immediately to every overture, you teach dependency. Teach the opposite. Make responses leaner and cleaner. Reward substance over volume. If someone must qualify themselves to your schedule, They'll either rise to meet it or reveal their true priorities. Either result is valuable data. Scarcity is not manipulation, it's architecture. Build a schedule that supports your growth. Fill it with practices that refine skill and character. Let your calendar be visible to no one. When you protect your hours, you protect your identity. Time defended becomes identity affirmed. People respect borders they can see working. The itch to check someone's updates is low-grade addiction. It eats at attention like termites. Each glance rewires reward pathways that keep you orbiting. Break the cycle with friction. Delete the shortcut. Turn off notifications. Replace passive scrolling with active projects. Reclaim chunks of time and watch your sense of value realign with your actions, not their distractions. Confidence comes from internal alignment, not external confirmation. When your day is designed around outcomes that matter to you, validation loses its pull. You stop scheduling your happiness around reactions. You become less negotiable. That shift changes the kinds of people who remain interested. Some will fade. Let them. Their leaving clears room for people who mirror your standards. Make your return a beginning, not a fallback. When you reappear, let your presence signal progress. Bring news of work done, habits built, or skills sharpened. Don't announce scarcity as drama. Let transformation speak. People respond to momentum more than explanation. Momentum erases pity and replaces it with curiosity. Boundaries are practical. They are rules for how your time and energy are used. State them through behavior, not speeches. Consistent application makes them enforceable. When you show up on your terms, you change the price of entry. That price is not monetary, it's energetic. It demands respect and authenticity. Remember, attraction follows value. When your life demonstrates that your time is not a commodity to be taken casually, attraction shifts from passivity to pursuit. Not everyone will be willing to pay that price. Those who are will show it through action. Those who aren't reveal priorities you don't need to compete for. Protect your tempo and you protect the quality of your life. Be scarce, intentionally hard to reach. Hook, vanish for the right reasons, not to trap feelings but to reconnect with who you are. Pulling away must be an act of repair. Stop treating distance like a weapon. Treat it like a workshop. Use the hours you free to retune habits, sharpen skills, and clear emotional clutter. This is maintenance, not maneuvering. Rebuild your mind as if you were restoring a house. Foundations first, then details. When inner structure improves, your outer life follows. Choose projects that demand focus. Learn a craft that humbles you. Push a physical limit that proves discipline. These compound. Small tasks completed daily rearrange identity over months. Pride becomes quiet and earned, not loud. The man who trains his attention becomes harder to distract. Focus breeds presence, and presence is authority. Replace reaction with routine. Design blocks of time for work, health, and growth. Follow them like rules you respect. Rituals remove emotional urges from your decision-making. When habits lead the day, impulses lose pull. You stop chasing momentary relief and start building durable momentum. Momentum keeps moving when temptation arrives. Guard your conversations. Reserve vulnerability for people earning it. Talk less about longing. Talk more about outcomes. Share progress, not pleas. Conversation becomes proof when it carries updates on projects, lifts in performance, or new skills learned. Reports of growth land heavier than explanations of pain. Progress is credibility. Turn solitude into laboratory time. Test routines of sleep, training, and study. Observe what stabilizes mood and what collapses it. Keep a record. Data removes drama. When you can point to measurable improvement, confidence rests on facts, not stories. Facts are unarguable. Stories invite debate. Surround yourself with people who stretch you. Distance is not isolation when your circle provokes growth. Seek companions who hold standards and follow through. Let their habits influence you more than your memories do. Peer pressure can be productive if it pushes standards upward. Replace social recycling with social elevation. Respect the calendar. Fill it with commitments that require your presence. Appointments with yourself become declarations of worth. A booked life is less available to emotional spirals. When your weeks are planned, Longing has fewer open hours to hijack. Occupied time diminishes obsession. Busy can mean purpose. Document the transformation. Journal wins, failures, and lessons. Written progress creates a narrative you control. When doubt returns, read what you've accomplished. Proof silences speculation. Written records turn feelings into evidence. Evidence beats uncertainty. Reclaim physical space. Organize, declutter, and create an environment that supports discipline. Your surroundings feed mentality. A tidy life encourages tidy choices. Replace relics of the past with tools for the future. Environment shapes action more than willpower ever will. Practice presence in small moments. When you're with people, be fully there. Eye contact, listening without planning a response, showing up. These are the new currencies. Presence rebuilds attraction because it signals availability now, not yesterday. People remember how you made them feel in moments. That's where influence lives. Finally, make progress public through results, not cries. Let achievement speak for you. Return as someone whose calendar, body, and mind prove the work was real. That arrival is magnetic because it's authentic. You came back as an upgraded version, not to win someone back, but because you showed up for yourself. Punishment is cheap and obvious. Growth costs time and attention. Posting petty updates or dramatic captions is theater. Lasting change is quiet, cumulative, and unflashy. People notice patterns, not performances. Real transformation shows up as new priorities, not as vindictive posts designed to hurt. Make improvements that outlast a headline. Train until the small wins add up. Read until your opinions shift. Build systems that keep you moving when motivation fades. Those systems make success sustainable. Sustainable change reframes identity. You become the kind of man who simply does the work. Swap reaction for progress. When pain hits, move toward crafting a solution rather than broadcasting hurt. Fix what's inside by fixing processes outside. Replace emotional outbursts with checklists. Channel disappointment into discipline. Use discomfort as fuel for action, not as an audience to perform for. Measure growth with metrics, not applause. Track hours trained, pages read, or projects shipped. Numbers remove drama and create clarity. If you can point to statistics, your claims about change stop being suspect. Accountability is a quiet magnifier. It turns intention into tangible results. Let your habits form a reputation. Reputation is the residue of repeated behavior. When people remember you, they remember consistency more than charisma. Commit to routines that reflect the man you want to be. In time, those routines will broadcast your value without a single boast. Stop seeking revenge by display. Upgrades done for another's discomfort are hollow. Do the work because you owe it to yourself. When changes are selfishly noble, meant to elevate your life rather than wound someone else, they land deeper and last longer. That purity of motive sharpens outcomes. Focus on competence. Become skilled at something substantive. Skill creates confidence that isn't brittle. It makes conversation different. It gives you content to bring into rooms. Skill also makes you interesting in a way attention chasing never will. Invest in presence. Presence is the habit of showing up fully for the task or person in front of you. It requires discipline and mental clarity. People respond to someone who is attentive and steady. Maintain standards without drama. Standards are the invisible fences that keep your life aligned. You don't announce them, you enforce them through choices. When your standards shape your calendar, your relationships change. People adjust or reveal themselves. Both outcomes are useful. Upgrade your circle. Surroundings matter. Replace social noise with disciplined company. Spend time with those building rather than those complaining. Being in proximity to consistent people accelerates your own consistency. Culture influences habit more than willpower does. Practice humility during growth. Improvement without humility invites arrogance, which is unattractive. Humility keeps you open to feedback and learning. It allows you to grow without needing to prove anything to anyone, which paradoxically makes the growth more visible. Celebrate privately. Public displays dilute meaning. Reserve true celebration for close allies and for your own reflection. The quiet acknowledgement of progress is more satisfying and less performative than public approval. Make your comeback visible through outcomes. When your body, skills, and calendar reflect months of work, that evidence speaks louder than any story. Return as someone whose life has momentum. Let results do the talking. That's the kind of transformation that commands respect and rewires any past narrative. This is growth, not a spectacle. Energy is the invisible currency that decides whether moments sting or sustain. You cannot manufacture it with captions or staged scenes. Energy comes from how you live, think, and move, not from how loudly you announce change. It's the temperature of your day-to-day choices. When your internal tone shifts, the world responds. Stop treating signals as the substance. A message is a placeholder. How you carry yourself fills it with meaning. Stop trading emotional bandwidth for empty gestures. Real influence is earned by how you steward your attention, not by how often you flash it. Attention given carelessly loses potency. Cultivate emotional temperature. Check your mental climate every morning. Are you reactive or steady? Reactive men ride highs and crash into neediness. Steady men build the faint, constant hum that draws others in without demanding anything. That hum is magnetic because it is reliable. Make presence habitual. Practice showing up fully in appropriate moments. Listen to understand, not to prepare a reply. Body language matters more than bluster. Carry calm in your shoulders, not tension. A relaxed man who moves with deliberation signals competence. Align actions with identity. Don't act for applause. Act because your values require it. If you claim discipline, then train in private so habit becomes muscle memory. If you say you value mastery, then ship work regularly. Identity becomes credible when behavior repeats itself across weeks and months. Guard your emotional output. Not every feeling deserves a broadcast. Reserve intensity for real investment. Scattered emotions squander charisma. Keep your highs and lows proportionate to the situation. This steadiness makes your peaks memorable and your lows non-infectious. Choose activities that generate quiet force. Hard work, sustained practice, thoughtful conversation. These accumulate into an energy field. They are not flashy, but they are substantial. When you compound small, focused efforts, your life begins to carry weight regardless of what you post. Practice silence that communicates. You don't need to explain every choice. Brevity allows others to draw conclusions. Over-explanation exposes vulnerability and invites negotiation. Let some things remain unspoken. Absence without justification projects strength. Let your calendar shape your value. Block time for deep work, recovery, and relationships that matter. When your schedule is full of prioritized commitments, you naturally become selective. Selectivity is not arrogance. It's a signal that you invest where returns are real. Shift from reaction to design. Responding is passive, designing is active. Build days that support the man you want to be. If your environment supports volatility, change it. If your circle fosters distraction, upgrade it. Your energy follows structure. Measure results quietly. Track improvements without hunting validation. Numbers and benchmarks silence doubt. When evidence stacks up, confidence rests on proof, not on appearances. Proof is persuasive in a way words are not. Emotional sovereignty is the ultimate attractor. It is not about never feeling, it is about choosing what commands your heart. When you master that choice, your presence becomes a gravitational field. People sense the difference instantly. Finally, make energy your project. Treat it like training. Show up to it daily. Small, consistent investments transform your presence into influence. Over time, that influence rewrites histories and redefines opportunities. Energy done right makes everything else follow. Start today, stay steady, and watch how your silence reshapes the room around you. Powerfully. Start with this. People prod to find soft spots. Be prepared to stay unmoved. Provocations are natural after distance. When someone senses a shift, they poke to see if the old reflex still exists. That nudge is a diagnostic, not a drama. How you comport yourself under that pressure reveals whether you govern your emotions or they govern you. Reacting quickly hands them a victory. Responding with calm keeps the map of power in your hands. Expect small tests disguised as casual contact. A one-word message, a late-night "you up," or a trivial reaction to a story are all experiments. They're designed to provoke a familiar pattern. Don't confuse novelty with sincerity. Most tests check for dependency, not devotion. Treat these moments as information gathering, not invitations to perform. Your first rule: pause. Pause before replying, pause before explaining, pause before justifying absence. That gap is not evasive, it's evaluative. It allows you to choose posture over reflex. In that pause, decide if responding serves your newly established priorities. If the answer is yes, keep it economical and composed. If the answer is no, silence is as communicative as any message. Keep replies minimal if you engage. Brevity protects emotional currency. Long messages replenish their leverage and diminish yours. Compact responses show availability on your terms. They also force the other person to be deliberate. If their follow-up is excessive, you gain clarity about their intent. If it's sparse, you learn their limits. Either way, the truth surfaces without theatrics. Do not dramatize tests. Public stunts, tit-for-tat posts, and theatrical indifference are low-grade theater. They signal volatility instead of control. Genuine boundary enforcement is quiet and consistent. It doesn't require followers to witness it. It only needs to be true in your day-to-day choices. Authentic restraint is invisible but felt. Keep standards non-negotiable. Tests should not alter the rules you've set for yourself. If your line is "no late-night calls," then that boundary stands even when temptation appears. If you allow exceptions for emotional pressure, you create loopholes. Loopholes become habits. Habits become regressions. Enforce your limits with the same consistency you apply to personal growth. Watch for pattern, not performance. One outreach does not negate months of absence. Repeated attempts reveal the real level of interest. Track consistency over time. People who value you will mirror your standards. Those who don't will only appear when it's convenient. Recognize the difference quickly and respond accordingly. Use tests to reveal reciprocity. If someone chases only when it inconveniences you, their priority is not aligned with your worth. Reciprocity is shown in time, effort, and respect for boundaries. Notice who restructures their behavior to match your level and who stays in the old rhythm. The former is worth attention, the latter is evidence. Respond from composure, not vindication. If you engage, let your tone be steady and your content factual. Share updates about what occupies your life rather than complaints about the past. Narrative of progress lands stronger than accusations. Progress creates curiosity, accusations create argument. When a test fails, move on decisively. Don't linger in analysis. Accept the outcome and allocate energy elsewhere. Failure of a test is not a moral condemnation, it's a filtering mechanism. It clears space for people who meet your standards and your momentum. Finally, remember that tests are temporary, identity is permanent. How you behave during these moments rewires future interactions. Respond with the discipline you want to keep. Over time, your consistency will make tests unnecessary because your presence will demand genuine engagement or none at all. Detachment is a practice you sharpen, not a mask you wear. It's about choosing your center when the world tries to pull you off it. Emotional discipline looks like calm under pressure, not the absence of feeling. You still feel. You refuse to be hijacked by reaction. Stop equating distance with indifference. Distance becomes destructive only when it hides cowardice. True detachment is visible courage. You face pain, accept it, and move deliberately through it. That motion is controlled, intentional, and free of theatrics. It says, "I own my state." Train your nervous system the way an athlete trains a body. Expose it to small stressors and recover with structure. Cold responses come from practice, not ignorance. Repeated restraint rewires reflexes. Over time you react less and respond more. That gap between stimulus and action is power. Define what you will and will not negotiate. Detachment needs rules to function. Rules prevent relapse. A rule like no impulsive replies after midnight, or no chasing after one-sided contact removes ambiguity. Rules are internal contracts that keep the work honest when emotions speak loudly. Practice feeling without performing. Allow sensations to exist without turning them into demands. Journal the urge, name the feeling, then act on a predetermined value-aligned choice. This method turns raw emotion into useful data. It prevents episodes from becoming narratives that steer behavior. Boundaries and kindness can coexist. You can be firm without cruelty. When you refuse to be baited, do it with composure. Calm refusal teaches more than dramatic withdrawal. People remember steady standards over sensational exits. That steadiness communicates value more reliably than any stunt. Be accountable to principles, not to pressure. Detachment becomes a commitment to your integrity. When you honor your limits, you honor yourself. That self-honor radiates, it cannot be faked. Others feel it and adjust, or they reveal themselves and depart. Both outcomes are confirmation, not loss. Avoid the trap of Stoic avoidance. Suppressing emotion is not mastery. Detachment allows expression but controls timing and context. Speak when it serves clarity and growth, not when it seeks proof. Controlled expression preserves dignity and reduces the drama that feeds dependency. Refuse the cheap highs of attention. Reacting for effect gives short-lived hits and long-term erosion. Discipline replaces performance with perseverance. Long-term gains compound quietly. The man who sticks to process builds a presence that endures beyond noise. Practice selective empathy. Understand motives without surrendering standards. Seeing someone's pain does not obligate you to take responsibility for it. You can hold compassion while maintaining your limits. That paradox confuses manipulators and reassures the mature. Use detachment to sharpen decisions. When emotion is stabilized, choices become clearer. You evaluate opportunities, not urgencies. That perspective aligns actions with long-term aims instead of temporary relief. Choose what moves your life forward, not what soothes an immediate ache. Teach through example. Your calm will be the lesson. Your consistency will be the curriculum. People learn faster from how you live than from what you say. Make your life the syllabus for the standards you want reciprocated. Finally, remember that detachment is generosity to yourself. By refusing to barter your peace for drama, you create space for purpose. That space fills with work, relationships, and experiences that reflect the man you are. Detachment kept honest becomes refinement, not exile. Start here. Quit auditioning for affection and become someone worth auditioning for. Stop framing relationships as competitions you must win. When you chase, you sell your time cheap and auction your dignity. Choosing not to chase restores value instantly. It signals that your attention is finite and therefore worth guarding. Scarcity becomes credibility when it's genuine. Decide what you bring to the table and refuse to barter the essentials. Standards are not punishments, they're filters. People who meet them add to your life. People who don't expose themselves early. That clarity saves time and spares drama. Being selective is efficient leadership of your own life. Shift focus from needing approval to producing results. Build projects that consume your focus. When your calendar is full of meaningful commitments, your desire to be validated shrinks. Achievement secretes confidence. Confidence is visible energy. It attracts more than any crafted message ever could. Be the man whose integrity precedes his introduction. Let your actions create first impressions before words do. Show up on time, finish what you start, treat people with consistent respect. Reputation grows from repetition of small choices. Those who notice will be drawn to your steadiness, not to the noise that used to define you. Practice nonchalance with intent. Nonchalance is not indifference, it's calm competence. It looks like carrying a full life and offering invitations, not begging for entry. That posture confuses those who depended on your volatility and intrigues those who appreciate composure. Make your presence earned. Don't flood the field with availability. Allow people to invest. Investment reveals priorities. When someone arranges their life to include you, that effort signals alignment and respect. The opposite, casual access, suggests expendability. Upgrade how you talk about yourself. Replace excuses with explanations of work. Replace pleas with updates. Speak of commitments, not cravings. Words shaped by purpose sound different. They land with authority. When you narrate progress, you control the story without performing for sympathy. Show, don't dramatize. Results silence rumors. Physical improvements, a fuller calendar, new skills, these are undeniable. People react to evidence. Your transformation should be a fact others encounter, not a plea they scroll past. Let outcomes do the heavy lifting. Cultivate an inner economy. Value your time as currency. Spend it on people and projects that yield growth. Refuse transactions that drain you. An inner economy forces better returns. Deeper conversations, higher standards, fewer compromises. That discipline breeds magnetism. Keep mystery tasteful. You don't owe a running commentary on your life. Selectively reveal aspects that matter. Mystery invites questions. Overexposure answers them all and kills curiosity. Let people wonder. Curiosity becomes the engine of pursuit. Demonstrate emotional sovereignty. When you control your response, you control the narrative. Respond from principle, not panic. Calmness breaks patterns of manipulation and replaces them with respect. People test boundaries. Your composure teaches them where the line sits. Show appreciation, not desperation. Gratitude is attractive when it's not a bargaining chip. Thank those who invest, but don't plead for more. Appreciation recognizes worth while preserving agency. That tension, warmth without need, creates longing. Finally, become rare by living fully. Pursue ambitions that demand time, discipline, and sacrifice. Build a life people want to be part of because it's meaningful, not because it's empty and loud. When you center momentum over longing, you flip the dynamic. The hunter becomes the hunted, curiosity replaces entitlement, and attraction follows authentic value. This is the finish line. Build a life that proves you moved on, then let that life be the message everyone decodes. Closure comes from who you become, not from the explanations you demand. When your days stack into meaning, the past recedes into context. That new context rewrites how others remember you. Turn recovery into a project with milestones. Establish measurable goals and meet them. Small wins compound into unavoidably visible change. When you can point to outcomes, doubt evaporates. People believe what they can see. Make your transformation observable and undeniable. Anchor your identity in contribution, not in attachment. Offer value through work, mentorship, or craft. Contribution replenishes self-worth faster than approval ever will. It shifts your attention outward and builds a reputation that isn't dependent on any single relationship. Treat legacy like an operating system, not a highlight reel. A legacy is the pattern of choices you leave behind, not the loud moments you post. Live in a way that accumulates meaning quietly. Years from now, people will remember your consistency more than your most dramatic nights. Make gratitude a daily practice. Gratitude reframes loss as tuition. It turns regret into lessons and pain into fuel. When you can list what the breakup taught you, you stop seeking validation and start harvesting insight. Gratitude grounds forward motion. Be selective with your sympathy. Empathy is noble but not obligatory. You can feel for someone's struggle without sacrificing your boundaries. Compassion paired with discretion prevents you from re-entering harmful cycles. Hold space for others without surrendering the helm of your own life. Invest time into relationships that reflect your growth. Surround yourself with people who expect depth and deliver accountability. Social currency is refined by association. If your circle demands excellence, your standards rise automatically. If it tolerates chaos, your progress stalls. Redefine success by standards you control. Replace social metrics with personal benchmarks. Measure days that align with your priorities, not days that conform to someone else's timeline. Self-directed standards free you from external bargaining. Share your work, not your wounds. When you communicate, lead with what you create and what you've learned. Let the narrative center on contribution and competence. Vulnerability without agency reads as plea. Vulnerability with action reads as maturity. Guard your story from revisionists. People will try to narrate your past to fit their comfort. Hold the pen. Correct distortions calmly and move on. Ownership of your history prevents others from weaponizing it against your future. Make time sacred. The boundaries you defend with consistency become the scaffolding for future life. Scheduling is an act of self-respect. When your calendar reflects your priorities, your presence becomes earned rather than given. Use visible routines to communicate standards. Morning rituals, consistent training, and recurring projects are signals more persuasive than any post. They demonstrate discipline and produce measurable effects over time. Routine is a quiet ambassador for who you are. Let curiosity replace resentment. When you're curious about why people behave the way they do, you learn faster and react less. Curiosity turns confusion into strategy. It makes you smarter in relationships and more efficient in exit decisions. Own your peace as a non-negotiable asset. Protect it from manipulation, from drama, and from low-grade attention. Peace is not inertia, it's the platform from which you build. Treat it like capital and invest it wisely. Finish with intention. If you want the next level of strategies for turning loss into leverage, subscribe and join a community focused on growth, not gossip. Follow the work, not the noise. Build something that outlives the heartbreak.